Picture this. A small-time boxer from Philadelphia gets the chance of a lifetime to fight the heavyweight champion of the world. Everyone expects him to be destroyed in the first round. The media calls it a publicity stunt. His own trainer thinks he's crazy. But here's what nobody understood about Rocky Balboa, and what makes his story one of the most powerful demonstrations of Stoic philosophy ever put to film. Rocky wasn't trying to win that fight against Apollo Creed. He had a completely different goal, one that would have made Marcus Aurelius himself proud. By the time we finish exploring Rocky's journey, you'll understand why this simple boxer from South Philadelphia embodies the deepest wisdom of ancient Stoicism, and how his approach to life can transform your own relationship with adversity, failure, and success. The story begins in the grittiest neighborhoods of Philadelphia, where Rocky Balboa lives a life that most people would consider failure. He's 30 years old, fighting in small clubs for peanuts, working as muscle for a loan shark, living alone in a cramped apartment with his pet turtles. By every conventional measure, Rocky is a loser. But here's where the ancient Stoics would have recognized something profound that everyone else missed. Epictetus, who rose from slavery to become one of history's greatest philosophers, taught that it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you choose to respond to what happens to you. Rocky Balboa lives this principle every single day, though he's never read a word of philosophy. He faces rejection, poverty, and constant humiliation, yet he maintains something that money can't buy and circumstances can't destroy: an unshakable inner peace. Watch how Rocky responds to mockery and disrespect. When people laugh at him, he doesn't get angry or defensive. When his trainer Mickey finally offers to help him but admits he previously saw him as a waste of talent, Rocky doesn't hold grudges. When Adrian barely speaks to him despite his persistent kindness, he doesn't give up or become bitter. This isn't weakness or stupidity. This is Stoic wisdom in action. The Stoics taught that other people's opinions of us are completely outside our control, and therefore shouldn't affect our inner state. Rocky understands this intuitively. He knows who he is and what he stands for, and he doesn't need external validation to maintain his self-respect. This is why he can remain genuinely kind and optimistic even when the world treats him as a joke. But Rocky's stoic nature becomes most apparent when he receives the opportunity that will define his legacy. Apollo Creed, the heavyweight champion, needs a last-minute replacement opponent for his upcoming fight. His team chooses Rocky specifically because he's unknown and expected to lose quickly, providing an easy victory for the champion. Most people would see this as an insult, a setup designed to humilify them. Rocky sees it as the chance of a lifetime. Here's where Rocky demonstrates the Stoic principle that Marcus Aurelius called the discipline of perception. The same event can be seen as fortune or misfortune, opportunity or threat, depending entirely on how we choose to frame it. Rocky chooses to see his selection not as a cynical publicity stunt, but as validation that he belongs in the ring with the best fighter in the world. When Mickey comes to him, hat in hand, offering to train him for the fight, Rocky faces a moment that reveals the depth of his character. Mickey had ignored him for years, treating him as a bum with no potential. Now, suddenly, Mickey wants to be part of his big opportunity. Rocky could have told him to go away. He could have held on to resentment and bitterness. Instead, he welcomes Mickey with open arms, because he understands something profound about forgiveness and focusing on what truly matters. The Stoics taught that anger and resentment are forms of self-imposed suffering. When we hold grudges, we allow past events to continue hurting us in the present moment. Rocky instinctively grasps this wisdom. He doesn't waste energy on anger or revenge because he's too focused on the work ahead of him. This isn't naivety, it's sophisticated emotional intelligence. As Rocky begins training for the biggest fight of his life, we see him apply Stoic principles that would have impressed Seneca himself. He doesn't focus on the outcome he can't control, which is whether he'll win or lose the fight. Instead, he focuses entirely on what he can control: his preparation, his effort, and his attitude. This focus transforms everything about how he approaches the challenge. Most fighters training for a championship fight would be consumed by thoughts of victory and glory. They'd visualize themselves holding the belt, imagine the acclaim and riches that would follow, dream about proving their doubters wrong. Rocky does something completely different. something that reveals the true nature of Stoic wisdom applied to real-world challenges. Rocky sets a goal that has nothing to do with winning or losing. He decides that if he can go the distance with Apollo Creed, if he can still be standing after 15 rounds with the best fighter in the world, that will be victory enough. This isn't lowering his standards or accepting defeat. This is understanding the difference between what's within our control and what isn't, and choosing to measure success by our own standards rather than external circumstances. This decision represents one of the most stoic moments in cinematic history. Rocky realizes that he can't control whether Apollo Creed will be having a great night, whether the judges will be fair, whether he'll get lucky punches or unlucky breaks. He can only control his own preparation and performance. So he sets a goal that depends entirely on his own effort and resilience, to prove he belongs in that ring by surviving all 15 rounds. Watch how this shift in focus changes everything about Rocky's training and mindset. He's no longer training with the desperate energy of someone who needs to win to validate himself. He's training with the calm determination of someone who has already defined what success means to him. This is the Stoic concept of preferred indifference in action. Winning would be nice, but it's not necessary for Rocky to achieve his real goal. The ancient Stoics distinguished between three kinds of goods: virtue, which is the only true good; vice, which is the only true evil; and everything else, which they called preferred indifference. Money, fame, victory, defeat, praise, criticism, all of these fall into the third category. They're neither inherently good nor bad, but simply circumstances that we can use to practice virtue or vice. Rocky Balboa understands this distinction without ever studying philosophy. He knows that winning the fight would be preferable, but he also knows that his character, his effort, and his integrity matter more than any external result. This understanding gives him a tremendous advantage over opponents who are fighting for their ego or their reputation rather than for the pure joy of testing themselves against the best. As the fight approaches, Rocky faces pressure that would crush most people. The media attention is overwhelming. Reporters ask him questions designed to make him look stupid. Photographers follow him around like he's a circus act. The general public sees him as either a lucky bum or a lamb being led to slaughter. Through all of this, Rocky maintains his equilibrium because he's not fighting for their approval or validation. The night of the fight reveals the full depth of Rocky's stoic character. In the dressing room before the bout, he's nervous but not panicked. He knows he's prepared as well as he can. He's done everything within his control. Now he has to trust in that preparation and accept whatever comes next. This is the Stoic practice of negative visualization in reverse. Instead of imagining loss to prepare for it, Rocky has already accepted all possible outcomes and found peace with each of them. When Rocky enters the ring and the bell sounds for the first round, something extraordinary happens. Apollo Creed expects to face a nervous, overwhelmed amateur who will crumble under pressure. Instead, he faces someone who has nothing to prove to anyone except himself, someone who has already won his real fight before the physical battle even begins. The fight itself becomes a masterclass in Stoic resilience. Rocky absorbs tremendous punishment, gets knocked down multiple times, faces moments when victory seems impossible. But he keeps getting back up, not because he's too stupid to stay down, but because staying down would mean failing to meet his own standard of what he came there to do. Each time Rocky gets knocked down and rises again, he's demonstrating the Stoic teaching that our true strength isn't measured by how hard we can hit, but by how much we can endure and keep moving forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action becomes the action itself, that obstacles become the path. Rocky lives this philosophy in real time, turning each knockdown into proof of his resilience. As the fight progresses and Rocky proves he can indeed go the distance with the champion, something beautiful happens. The crowd that came to see him humiliated begins to cheer for him. Apollo Creed, who expected an easy night, finds himself in the fight of his life. The media that portrayed Rocky as a joke realizes they're witnessing something special. But here's the crucial point: Rocky's validation doesn't come from their changing opinions. Rocky's moment of triumph comes not when the final bell rings, not when he realizes he's gone the distance, but in a quieter moment during the fight when he understands that he's doing exactly what he set out to do. He's proving to himself that he belongs in that ring. Everything else, the crowd's reaction, the media coverage, even whether he wins or loses, is secondary to that personal victory. This is the essence of Stoic success: achieving what you set out to achieve based on standards you control, regardless of external circumstances. Rocky doesn't need to win the fight to succeed, because his real opponent was never Apollo Creed. His real opponent was the voice inside his head that said he didn't belong, that he wasn't good enough, that he should accept his limitations and stop dreaming. When the fight ends and Rocky calls out for Adrian, ignoring the reporters and the chaos around him, we see the final piece of his Stoic character. He values the people who matter to him more than fame or recognition. He understands that the relationships we build and maintain are more important than any external achievement. This isn't sentimentality, it's wisdom. The Stoics taught that human beings are social creatures who find meaning through our connections with others and our contributions to the common good. Rocky embodies this teaching throughout his story. He's kind to children in his neighborhood, patient with Adrian despite her shyness, loyal to Mickey despite past disappointments, and respectful to his opponents even when they don't deserve it. But Rocky's Stoic journey doesn't end with his first fight against Apollo. His response to success proves even more instructive than his response to being an underdog. When fame and fortune come his way, Rocky doesn't let them change his fundamental character. He remains humble, generous, and focused on what truly matters. This is perhaps the hardest test of Stoic principles: maintaining virtue when external circumstances improve. Many people can handle adversity with grace, but prosperity often reveals character flaws that poverty kept hidden. Rocky proves that his goodness isn't a result of having nothing to lose, but a genuine commitment to treating others with respect and kindness regardless of his own circumstances. This consistency across changing conditions is the mark of true Stoic character. When Rocky faces Apollo Creed in their rematch, he's no longer the hungry underdog with nothing to lose. Now he has a reputation to maintain, expectations to meet, and critics who claim his first performance was a fluke. The pressure is different but equally intense. Rocky's response reveals how deeply he's internalized Stoic principles. Instead of fighting to prove his critics wrong or to maintain his newfound status, Rocky fights for the same reason he always fought: because he loves the challenge of testing himself against the best. His motivation remains internal rather than external. He's not fighting Apollo Creed for the approval of others. He's fighting because it's what he does, because it's how he expresses his commitment to excellence and his respect for the sport. This consistency of motivation is crucial to understanding Rocky's Stoic nature. The Stoics taught that we should act according to our nature and our principles regardless of circumstances. Rocky demonstrates this by maintaining the same attitude, the same work ethic, and the same respect for his opponents, whether he's a nobody from South Philadelphia or the heavyweight champion of the world. The way Rocky handles victory when he finally defeats Apollo is as instructive as how he handled defeat. There's no arrogance, no gloating, no desire for revenge against those who doubted him. Instead, there's quiet satisfaction in having achieved his goal and genuine respect for the opponent who pushed him to his limits. This is the Stoic understanding that true victory is internal, not external. As Rocky's career progresses through subsequent films, we see him face challenges that test different aspects of his Stoic character. When he loses his fortune, he doesn't become bitter about the unfairness of life. When he faces opponents younger and stronger than himself, he doesn't complain about aging. When tragedy strikes his family, he doesn't ask why bad things happen to good people. Instead, Rocky consistently applies the same fundamental approach: accept what you cannot change, work with what you can control, and maintain your character regardless of circumstances. This isn't passive acceptance or resignation. This is active engagement with reality as it is, not as we wish it were. The relationship between Rocky and Adrian provides another window into his Stoic character. He loves her deeply, but he doesn't make his happiness dependent on her approval or support. When she asks him not to fight, he listens to her concerns and takes them seriously, but he doesn't abandon his own sense of purpose to please her. This is the Stoic balance between caring about others and maintaining our own integrity. Rocky shows us that true love means supporting each other's growth and authenticity, not demanding that our partners sacrifice their dreams for our comfort. He never pressures Adrian to be someone she's not, and he asks for the same respect in return. This mutual support based on acceptance rather than control reflects deep Stoic wisdom about relationships. When Rocky trains young fighters later in his career, we see how his Stoic principles have evolved into wisdom that he can pass on to others. He doesn't just teach boxing technique, he teaches character. He shows his students that the real fight is always with themselves, that the real victory is always internal, that the real opponent is always fear, doubt, and the temptation to give up. Rocky's teaching style embodies the Stoic belief that we learn virtue through example rather than through lectures. He doesn't preach about resilience or determination. He demonstrates these qualities consistently and lets others learn by watching. He understands that actions speak louder than words, and that the best way to influence others is to live according to our principles. The genius of Rocky's character is that he makes Stoic philosophy accessible without ever mentioning philosophy at all. He shows us what these ancient principles look like when applied by an ordinary person in extraordinary circumstances. He proves that you don't need formal education or intellectual sophistication to live with wisdom and integrity. Rocky Balboa teaches us that Stoic resilience isn't about being tough or hard or emotionally closed off. It's about being open to whatever life brings while maintaining your core values and sense of purpose. It's about finding the balance between acceptance and effort, between humility and confidence, between caring about outcomes and not being attached to them. His story reminds us that we all face our own version of stepping into the ring with Apollo Creed. We all encounter challenges that seem bigger than us, opponents that seem more skilled, situations that seem hopeless. Rocky shows us that the question isn't whether we'll face these challenges, but how we'll respond when we do. Will we define success by external standards or internal ones? Will we focus on what we can't control or what we can? Will we let fear and doubt keep us from taking our shot? Or will we step into the ring knowing we've prepared as well as we can and trust in that preparation? Will we get back up when we're knocked down, or will we stay on the canvas and blame our circumstances? Rocky Balboa answers all these questions through his actions, showing us a way of living that's both heroic and humble, both ambitious and accepting. He teaches us that true strength comes not from never falling down, but from always getting back up. True success comes not from never failing but from never giving up on ourselves. The most beautiful aspect of Rocky's Stoic resilience is that it's available to all of us. We may not be professional boxers, but we all have our fights. We all have our Apollo Creeds, our chances to prove something to ourselves, our opportunities to discover what we're really made of when everything is on the line. Rocky Balboa shows us that the size of the challenge doesn't matter as much as the size of our response to it. He proves that ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things not through talent or luck, but through the consistent application of timeless principles. He demonstrates that the real championship belt is the one we award ourselves for refusing to give up on our dreams and our values. In the end, Rocky's greatest victory isn't any particular fight he wins, but the person he becomes through the process of fighting. He shows us that the journey matters more than the destination, that how we handle the struggle matters more than whether we ultimately succeed or fail by external measures. Rocky Balboa embodies the Stoic truth that we become what we repeatedly do, and that by choosing to act with courage, integrity, and resilience day after day, we can transform ourselves into people worthy of our own respect. That transformation, that becoming, is the real prize that no one can take away from us. This is why Rocky's story continues to inspire generations of viewers who may never set foot in a boxing ring but who recognize in his journey their own struggles and possibilities. He shows us that Stoic resilience isn't about being perfect or invulnerable, but about being willing to face whatever comes with dignity, courage, and an unshakable commitment to being our best selves regardless of the score. But there's an even deeper layer to Rocky's Stoic wisdom that becomes apparent when we examine how he handles the inevitable decline that comes with age and time. In later films, we see Rocky facing perhaps the ultimate test of Stoic character, accepting the limits of what our bodies can do while maintaining the unlimited nature of what our spirits can achieve. When Rocky faces Ivan Drago, the Soviet fighting machine who killed his friend Apollo Creed in an exhibition match, we witness Rocky confronting grief, revenge, and the desire for justice in a way that would have made Epictetus himself take notice. Most people in Rocky's position would be consumed by anger and the need for vengeance. They would let emotion drive their decisions and cloud their judgment. But Rocky's response to Apollo's death reveals the sophistication of his emotional intelligence. He grieves deeply for his friend and former rival, but he doesn't let that grief transform into hatred for Drago. He understands, without ever articulating it philosophically, that Drago is simply a tool being used by others, a man trapped in a system that values only victory and dominance. The Stoics taught that anger is temporary madness, and that seeking revenge is like drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. Rocky instinctively grasps this wisdom. When he decides to fight Drago, it's not for revenge or to prove American superiority over Soviet strength. It's to honor Apollo's memory and to demonstrate that there are things more important than winning. Things like loyalty, courage, and standing up for what's right. Rocky's preparation for the Drago fight takes him to the remote wilderness of Siberia, where he trains in conditions that would break most people. Here we see Rocky practicing what the Stoics called voluntary discomfort, deliberately choosing hardship to build character and resilience. He's not just preparing his body for the fight, he's preparing his soul for whatever outcome awaits him. The training montages in the frozen Russian landscape aren't just about building physical strength. They're about Rocky reconnecting with the fundamental principles that have always guided him. Simplicity over complexity, effort over talent, character over reputation. In the harsh beauty of Siberia, stripped of all distractions and comforts, Rocky rediscovers who he truly is beneath all the fame and expectations. Watch how Rocky approaches the crowd in Russia, a hostile audience that wants to see him destroyed. Instead of being intimidated or resentful, he wins them over simply by being himself, respectful, determined, and utterly authentic. This is the Stoic principle of focusing on your own behavior rather than trying to control others' reactions. Rocky doesn't try to make the Russian crowd like him. He simply shows them who he is and lets them decide for themselves. The fight with Drago becomes a perfect metaphor for the Stoic approach to overwhelming challenges. Drago is younger, stronger, scientifically trained, and backed by the full resources of the Soviet sports machine. By every measurable standard, Rocky should lose badly. But Rocky brings something that can't be measured or quantified: an unbreakable will and a clear understanding of what he's really fighting for. As the fight progresses and Rocky absorbs tremendous punishment while slowly wearing down his seemingly invincible opponent, we see the ultimate demonstration of Stoic endurance. Rocky isn't just outlasting Drago's punches, he's outlasting Drago's will. He's proving that character and determination can overcome superior physical gifts when those gifts aren't backed by equally strong internal resources. The moment when the Russian crowd begins cheering for Rocky instead of their own fighter represents something profound about human nature and Stoic virtue. People recognize authentic courage and integrity when they see it, regardless of nationality or politics. Rocky wins their respect not through propaganda or manipulation, but through the simple power of living his principles under extreme pressure. Rocky's victory speech after defeating Drago reveals another dimension of his Stoic character. Instead of gloating or claiming superiority, he talks about how people can change and grow if they're willing to try. He doesn't use his platform for personal aggrandizement but for promoting understanding and hope. This is the Stoic concept of using our influence for the common good rather than for personal benefit. But perhaps the most challenging test of Rocky's Stoic resilience comes not in the ring but in his personal life, when he faces the possibility of losing Adrian to illness. Here we see Rocky confronting the ultimate reality that all Stoics must face. The people we love are not ours to keep forever, and our happiness cannot depend on external circumstances, no matter how dear they are to us. Rocky's response to Adrian's illness shows us what Stoic love really looks like. He doesn't deny the reality of her condition or pretend that positive thinking will cure her. He accepts what he cannot control while focusing completely on what he can, being present with her, supporting her treatment, and making every moment they have together meaningful. The Stoics taught that we should love people fully while holding them lightly, understanding that everything in life is temporary and that attachment to permanent outcomes leads to suffering. Rocky embodies this difficult balance perfectly. His love for Adrian is complete and unconditional, but he doesn't let his fear of losing her prevent him from living fully in the present moment. When doctors tell Rocky that Adrian may not survive, he faces a choice that reveals the depth of his character. He could become bitter, could rage against the unfairness of life, could lose faith in everything he's believed about goodness and justice. Instead, he chooses to love more deeply, to be more present, to find gratitude for whatever time they have left together. This response to potential loss demonstrates advanced Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about accepting the temporary nature of all things while still engaging fully with life. Rocky shows us what this looks like in practice. Acknowledging reality without being defeated by it, feeling deep emotion without being controlled by it, facing uncertainty without being paralyzed by it. When Adrian recovers and Rocky decides to come out of retirement for one more fight, his motivations reveal how completely he's internalized Stoic principles. He's not fighting to recapture past glory or to prove he still has what it takes. He's fighting because he has something left to give, because he believes he can still contribute something meaningful to the sport that has given him so much. The opponent Rocky faces in his comeback is Mason Dixon, a talented but untested champion who lacks the kind of opponents who could truly test his mettle. Rocky sees an opportunity to provide that test, to give Dixon the kind of challenging fight that will reveal what the young champion is really made of. This generosity toward a potential opponent shows Rocky's understanding that competition at its highest level is about bringing out the best in each other. Rocky's training for his final fight takes on a different quality than his previous preparations. He's no longer training with the desperate energy of someone trying to prove something to the world. He's training with the calm focus of someone who knows exactly who he is and what he's capable of. This is the Stoic ideal of acting from a place of inner certainty rather than external pressure. The questions people ask Rocky about why he's coming back at his age reveal how little they understand about what truly motivates him. They assume he's driven by ego or money or the need for attention. Rocky's simple answer cuts through all the noise. He has something left in his tank and he wants to see what happens when he empties it completely. This willingness to risk failure and embarrassment for the sake of authentic self-expression is perhaps the most courageous aspect of Rocky's character. The Stoics valued courage not just in facing external dangers but in facing the judgment and criticism of others when we choose to live according to our own standards rather than theirs. Rocky's final fight becomes a meditation on aging, legacy, and the meaning of a life well lived. He knows he probably can't win, but winning isn't the point. The point is to show up fully, to give everything he has, to demonstrate that age and circumstances don't have to diminish our willingness to engage with life's challenges. As Rocky takes punishment from the younger, stronger Dixon, he's not just absorbing physical blows. He's absorbing the accumulated weight of all his years, all his fights, all his struggles. Yet he continues to move forward, to throw punches, to look for openings. This is the essence of Stoic resilience, continuing to act according to our nature and principles regardless of the odds against us. The respect that Dixon develops for Rocky during their fight represents something beautiful about competition when it's conducted with integrity. Dixon begins the fight seeing Rocky as an aging relic, a name from the past who doesn't belong in the ring with him. By the end, he understands that he's been sharing the ring with someone special, someone who embodies everything that's best about the sport of boxing. Rocky's performance in his final fight proves that his greatest victories were never really about defeating opponents. They were about defeating the voice inside his head that said he couldn't do something, that he wasn't good enough, that he should accept limitations others placed on him. Every time Rocky stepped into a ring, he was really fighting himself, and every time he gave his best effort, he won that fight regardless of the official decision. The way Rocky handles the aftermath of his final fight, win or lose, demonstrates the full maturity of his Stoic character. He's grateful for the opportunity, respectful to his opponent, gracious to the fans, and at peace with having given everything he had to give. This is what the Stoics meant when they talked about achieving ataraxia, the state of unshakable calm that comes from living in accordance with virtue. Rocky Balboa's complete story arc from small-time club fighter to beloved champion to aging warrior shows us that Stoic resilience isn't a single moment of courage, but a lifetime of choosing to respond to circumstances with dignity and integrity. It's about getting up every morning and deciding once again to be the person you believe you should be, regardless of what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. The profound impact Rocky has had on popular culture isn't really about boxing at all. It's about the universal human experience of facing challenges that seem bigger than us and finding the strength to meet them anyway. Rocky gives us a template for how to approach our own seemingly impossible fights with grace, determination, and an unshakable belief in our own worth. Rocky's story reminds us that we don't need perfect circumstances or exceptional talents to live with heroic virtue. We just need to be willing to show up, to do our best, to treat others with respect, and to never give up on becoming the person we're capable of being. These simple principles, consistently applied, can transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. In the end, Rocky Balboa teaches us that true championship isn't about holding a belt or receiving acclaim. It's about winning the daily battle with our own limitations, fears, and excuses. It's about choosing to be brave when we're scared, kind when we're hurt, and persistent when we're tired. It's about understanding that the real victory is in the trying, not just in the succeeding. This is why Rocky's legacy endures and why his story continues to inspire people who face their own versions of stepping into the ring with impossible odds. He shows us that Stoic resilience isn't about being superhuman. It's about being fully, courageously, authentically human in the face of whatever life brings us.